Great, thanks so much. So, yeah, first of all, apology because I might be going a little bit too fast at times because originally this was a presentation of 45 minutes. Haha. So, I'm just quickly gonna race through some things, especially when it's about, the intro about me. I've been in the game industry for 8 years. I've been always on the commercial side of games, working closely with indie developers in different roles. And right now I'm at Tamalaki Publishing, which is a publisher, an Android publisher, where I put indie games on Google Play, Amazon, and Nook in cooperation with FGL. And it's for FGL that I'm here also. And I like to talk, but I promise you I won't keep you too long because I know there's drinks waiting. So this talk is going to cover some basics about mobile monetization and marketing when you want to think about self-publishing your game. Monetization, I think, is a very interesting topic because it's kind of, it's kind of explaining human psychology. Why do people spend money on things that are not real? So, in my opinion, there are like 7 or 8 kind of points that you can monetize. So, kind of triggers. But first of all, it's how do you trigger people to spend money? Well, make it fair, because as far as people, as soon as they feel that they're going to be ripped off, then they're not going to spend money. So I put a couple of examples in here. This is from the game Bread Kittens, which I'm currently playing quite a lot. It's like a Pokemon game where you catch kittens by throwing bread at them. Yes, that's true. And in the screenshot here, you see that, okay, so I can catch this cat, and if I decide to spend 120 in-game bucks, then I get the cat for sure. Or I can just throw some free bread, and there's an 8% chance that I catch it. So there's a choice that the player can make. The game doesn't force them to spend money, but it's a choice. So one of the things that you can monetize is the impatience of humans. It's people are inclined to go for kind of short-term goals, right? I mean, it's when you look, for instance, at dieting, you know that cookie is just awesome, and if you eat it now, you're going to enjoy it now. If you're not going to eat it, then you know that if you consistently not eat that cookie in a few weeks, then you're going to enjoy weight loss. But why do so many people get fat? It's because people are inclined to go for short-term goals. So it's kind of the human impatience that a lot of games try to monetize as well by making it that you can only play the game for a couple of minutes every day. And if people really want to play more, for instance, if you're almost this close to leveling up, and you just need a few more points, by letting people buy some more energy. And another example from Bread Kittens, where you can also, again, you can unlock that the speeding up of things by just purchasing with in-game money or by actually real money value. Also, again, linking back to that, making it fair, not forcing the user to spend money, give them a choice. Give the user the feeling that they're in control. Collecting. It's especially when you position the collection in a game a bit like this, really clearly pointing out like you're missing something there. Those blacked out shadows, you're incomplete, right? So especially, for instance, if you in a car game, you have a garage, and in your garage you have 10 spots, you have 9 spots filled, there's 1 empty spot, and it's bugging you. And well, there's the option to buy a Ferrari for $5. So, well, it would look nice in your garage, right? Finish your collection. So that's again another strategy, and that kind of flows into personalization. Why do people spend $50 on some kind of brand shirt if you can buy a $10 shirt with no brand on it? people like to associate themselves with certain brands or certain things, and in game it's the same. People like to stand out and personalize. So if all the characters in some kind of social game look the same, and you hardly see anyone walking around with an awesome top hat, then okay, you might want to consider spending some money on that top hat, because then you're special. You're the only one with the top hat. A bit more about how to sell your in-game currency, if you have it. People are always looking for the best deals. I always like to compare it to the example of the supermarket. All the promotions that you see in the supermarket. They might throw out something like, buy 3 cans of soup for the price of 2. Then okay, so you come across this offer, looks nice. Yeah, sure. Why don't I buy 3 cans of soup? Sure. Then you get at home, and you're thinking about what I'm going to eat tonight. I have 3 cans of soup. I might as well eat some soup tonight. And then later in the week, you might decide to do it again. And then all of a sudden, you end up eating soup 3 times this week. So next week, you ran out of soup and you need to get some new. Same for when people buy big bundles. You might think that if users buy like $100 bundle, they're going to last forever with it. No, actually, as soon as they have money, they're going to spend it faster than they otherwise would. So, a user who buys a $100 pack might spend it just as fast as someone who buys a $10 pack. And you can kind of put pointers in there, like here we hint like, oh, this is the most popular pack, or this is the best value, go for it. Or make them time limited to kind of put the pressure on. Also the soup in the supermarket is not always for sale. It's time limited, and you don't know when. You don't know when it's going to be on sale. So if it's going to be on sale, it kind of feels like, this is special, and I have to grab this opportunity now. And the same here in this example, where it clearly says it's 60% off, and it only lasts for 1 hour. Ooh, pressure. This is a type of monetization that I don't see a lot in Western games. It's more something that I personally have seen in Korean and Japanese games. This is a screenshot from Puzzles and Dragons, where you lost the fight and you're sort of game over, but if you pay a stone, you're allowed to continue. So imagine yourself spending 100 hours in your game, and then you die, and then you have the choice, okay, so these 100 hours might have been for nothing, or I pay $1, right? I don't know, I would hate a game that does that to me, because that's, linking back to the point of making it fair. That would not feel fair to me, but I'd say it's a hugely popular game, so I guess people are buying it. This was a funny one I came across in terms of fair pricing. This is a screenshot from a, sorry I have to say, but quite a crappy Pokemon ripoff. And they offer an in-game item called Roll Number 1, what the hell is that anyway, for $109.99. I can buy like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 times for that money, So why would I spend all that on such a small silly ripoff in a mobile game? So if you want your users to buy something, then at least make it attractive. So far for the monetization stuff. And I want to quickly jump into the marketing, and I kind of split that in 2 sections, where first it's marketing that you can do as the way your game appears in the store, and then a bit about outside of the store, what you can do. So in the store, obviously the game title, it's part of your marketing as well. And the way that comes to expression is, for instance, this. I came across this Worldcraft block building game with, I don't know, bananas, kittens. I don't know with what. Oh, multiplayer. Okay, that is actually a vital part of this game. It's quite important to know that Worldcraft is about multiplayer. So if I would be this developer, I would throw the game title around and I would call it Worldcraft Multiplayer or something. the keywords is something that you do not see. The user does not see it, but it does affect the way that your game ends up in search results. This is a screenshot from a tool called sensortower.io, where you can compare keywords and how they work in different markets, how much traffic each keyword is getting, and what the difficulty is to get in the top rankings of that keyword. So yeah, it's not gonna be a maker or breaker for your game, but it's these kind of small things that you can do that also influence the positioning of your game in the store. You know, why not spend a few minutes figuring it out? The thumbnail, I think, is the most important thing, actually, the most important asset of positioning your game in the store. So here's an example of two spider solitaire games. The one on the left just shows a spider, and the title is Spider. So if I see this, I don't know yet that it's about a solitaire game. It might be about killing spiders, or it might be about attack of the giant spiders. You know, I don't know. Well, you look at the right one, the title is Spider Solitaire, and the spider icon clearly shows some solitaire elements, like the spades and stuff. Also, you don't necessarily have to show all the gameplay on your thumbnail. If your game is named Solitaire, then people are kind of gonna know what your game is like. You don't have to, like the one on the left, you don't have to show the actual solitaire game. You know, if you look at the one on the left, it looks a lot more attractive. It looks like calmer, and it's like, you know, it looks a bit more polished. So yeah, you know, just feature some key gameplay elements. Next to that, the screenshots. The screenshots kind of have to tell the story of your game. I think this is an example of a screenshot that's not so good, because all you see is two pandas, and it doesn't really tell a story. It doesn't really, you know, yeah, I mean, I see an arrow above one panda's head, so I guess I have to shoot him, but it doesn't really say what to do. It doesn't explain anything. And this screenshot is, actually, I'd like to ask you, if you see this screenshot, what kind of game do you think it is? Strategy, right? Yeah. Tower defense. It's also what I thought. It's a hidden object game. Yeah, I know, you have to find the buildings that are in the bottom. So yeah, no one gets this one right. You know, so it's a good example of how you can get your screenshots in the wrong way. But this, on the other hand, I think is a good example. It's a crazy parking game, and it clearly shows in one shot the way that the game is played, and it tells you it has 50 levels. Or for this hidden object, for example, where it clearly states it is a hidden object game, it shows the artwork, which is the most important feature in a hidden object game, and it very cleverly played on the whole Hobbits thing that was going on by calling it the halflings. The game doesn't actually show halflings. It only shows like forests with, you know, cute little halfling houses. People on the internet don't read, but you know, you got to put in a description, so you might as well make it as effective as possible. In the stores, it's not possible to make text like bold or italic, but you can write in caps. You can shout at your players. So, you know, if you quickly scan with your eyes over this text, you see normal, casual, challenge, search by picture, word, silhouette. So, you know, in like a couple of seconds, I can read that it has like 6 different game modes. So it already kind of tells me like, okay, so this game has more to offer than just, you know, one-time play. Also in the stores, there's 2 types of reviews. I think most important is the reviews in the store. If you launch your game, you don't want to end up with a couple of 1-star reviews because there's still some bugs in your games. Right? So you know, be sure that you really test it out before you launch it, because if you get a couple of 1-star reviews the moment your game launches, you're never going to recover from that. It's basically, you know, say goodbye to your game and start developing the next one. So you know, that's about how you proceed in the store. From getting traffic from outside the store, it's the other type of reviews are important, where your game gets featured by bloggers and stuff. this is often something that developers only start thinking about when their game is ready, but that's far too late. You kind of have to start thinking about it when you're beginning your development or when you're halfway, depending on how big your project is. To kind of build up a relationship with all these the bloggers and press guys. The problem is it's a lot of work. Most developers don't have time for it because they're, well, surprise, they're building the game. But if you wanna invest in it, and you wanna do it yourself, then I would recommend go to these links. I mean, this presentation will be available afterwards, so you can look it up. But it's basically 2 huge lists of blog review sites for Android and iOS. So marketing outside the store. Like I just said, you don't want to have a bad review. So you first might want to test your game in a test market. For example, you pick out a small market somewhere. Most developers use Australia and Canada or New Zealand as a test market because they're English speaking and they kind of have the same behavior as the American App Store. So they launch it there and then they see if it does well. And if it does, then it's ready for the worldwide launch. Just to kind of, protect yourself from going worldwide with a bug, for example. Paid marketing is something that I would not recommend if you're indie, but just to throw everything in there, I'm going to tell a little bit about paid marketing with this example from Distimo data from last year. And it shows how many downloads per day you need to get into the top 25 in the United States iPhone charts. So it's a bit hard to read, but I mean, for instance, in the business category, you need 90 downloads per day. Like, okay, well, that's fair. Sounds reasonable. The games category, you need 2,300 downloads a day. And so this is from April last year. So, it's the app stores are growing really, really fast. So I'm guessing right now you need at least 4,000, and that's only America and only iPhone. So if you want to do like a worldwide launch, you can. Then you suddenly realize why it is that companies like Clash of Clans just throw around, millions of dollars in marketing budgets, because that's just, if you wanna really buy your users and if you wanna, maintain your top positions, or if you wanna buy your way into top positions, that's unfortunately the type of budget we're talking about. So what is far more interesting for small developers is cross-promotion. There's tons of services out there like Chartboost and Tapjoy and Maudao and the video service from Amplifier, for example, where you can for free cross-promote games. So the downside is that you advertise another game in your own game, but on the other hand, the other games do that for your game as well. So it's kind of a fair trade. Some systems work on click for click, other work on user per user. So that's a good way of long-term free promotion. Often I hear developers say like, yeah, well, I hope my game gets featured. Well, I also hope I win the lottery. It's something that just doesn't happen very often. If it happens, then of course you're gonna read it all on the indie blogs and the post-mortems, like, oh, and they got featured and it was awesome and they were happily ever after. But the reality is it just only happens to a very small percentage of games. So I would recommend don't really count on it. Even if your game is really good, just don't count on it. And if it happens, that's a huge bonus. Trouble party. It's just, but yeah, just consider it as an extra. And last thing, what I noticed and what I was actually quite surprised about is that a lot of developers just don't put analytics in their apps. Not just analytics like like game analytics or honey tracks, where you can track what users do in your app. How long they play your game, how many times they come back, if they come back specific times of the day, how many ads they click, etc. But also think of store analytics like App Annie, where you can easily track how is my game doing in the different stores in the world, and what's the competition in the local markets, etc. To kind of get a feeling of what the market is looking for. And last but not least, I said I was here for FGL. So if you just saw this and you were like, okay, that's all a lot of work. Maybe I can't do that all by my own. FGL has this publishing service where I work as one of the publishers as well. We publish Android apps to Google Play, to Amazon, to Nook. It's a one-line API integration. What you get is the cross-promotion service. You get a marketing boost where we try to boost your app into the charts. It's high scores achievements. It's an intelligent ad system where multiple ad networks are integrated and you always get the revenue from the highest paying ad partner. We have several licensing opportunities, like one-time offs with big licensing companies. And you get everything in a detailed reporting console, so that you can every day track what exactly your app is doing. On the tech side, what I just summed up is we have that fully ready for Flash and HTML5, for Unity as well, most of these features. And for Flash only, we also have a sandbox where you can easily convert your Swifts through Adobe Air to Android. You can test it in the sandbox, get it properly working. So I just talked about those bad reviews, so you can avoid it, make sure that it all works. So that was it. 21 minutes. I think I did pretty well. Thanks a lot for your attention. If you have any more questions, you want to know more about the mobile platform, come talk to me or go to fgl.com/mobile platform. And this whole talk and the big version of it has also been published at fgl.com/blog if you wanna read it over again. So if there are any questions, feel free.
Anybody? It's your last chance of the day to ask somebody a question. Anyone have anything? Everybody wants to go get drunk?
I guess so. I agree.
Okay, well then let's do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.